Hello, everyone. So we are finally on the third of three six-round draft picks in Oli Udoh, who was drafted 193rd overall. So he's 6'5", 323 pounds, and has nearly 36-inch arms. Now, run blocking, I think he has significant power through his very thickly built frame and is able to kind of create movement and running lanes throughout just using that alone, and has very heavy hands and grip strength. And once his hands are kind of just locked in, you don't get away from him because of just he's so massive and strong, and it's hard to get around him. He just can kind of control you wherever you want to go, essentially, once his hands are latched on there. I do think he could use some leverage refinements as well as I would like to see a little bit more of a mean streak from him, from a guy his size and as strong as he is. It would be really nice to see him being able to just kind of play with more tenacity and more of an edge. Pass blocking, I think he's able to get like a decent amount of depth just from his stance in order to frame rushers, and can redirect fairly well for a guy his size, and does kind of soften edges for rushers, though, by just having his outside hip just a little bit too much inside. And he has a very good initial pop that can actually stun rushers just upon impact. Blocking in space is important for what Minnesota's trying to do along their zone-based offensive running style now. And I think he has a tendency to be a little late on some of those longer pulls. And he does operate under control, like he can kind of control his own body in space. I don't think it's necessarily bad, but his angles do need to improve, so there's more consistency on actually hitting his moving targets in space. And I don't think it's necessarily a great fit in terms of that and his skill set, but I don't think he's necessarily out of place either. And his power is his big thing. He is a big, powerful guy. This is his calling card. This is what he's here to do. He has very heavy punches and has a really good grip strength. Like I said, you don't get away. And he has a firm anchor when the base is actually square and, well, in pass protection. And he does need to work on the whole leverage thing to maximize his run blocking ability. Can kind of get a little bit too far up and down, just too straight up and down. Not too much bending of the knees, but he's so big and powerful that he's still able just to move people. And he does have a lack of comfort on the move, which I think could speak to some potential processing issues. I'm not really sure. He just doesn't look very natural out there all the time when he's doing it. So hopefully, it didn't really look like he really knew what he was doing all the time, and it looked like a lack of comfortability to me. So I have that there. And he has really good foot quickness and fluidity with his actual foot movements. And that's really rare for a guy his size, because he needs to kind of get more consistent with that kick slide, but he can kind of disrupt a passer's arc just around the end, just alone. Like, he can keep up with them, and it's hard to get past him even by that, even though he's such a big guy. Like, he can keep up with them along with having those really long arms. So there's that. And his feet do stay engaged throughout the entirety of the contact. So, like I said, with his hands, powers to stun rushers just with the initial pop. And he does showcase like really good grip strength. Somewhat varies his hand strikes, which is kind of nice to see, and has shown he can kind of effectively trap blockers. But hands are a bit low, that elongates the punch, which is a similar issue that I saw in their other draft pick, Drew Samia. We could be looking at a similar thing where his stance could change a little, because, once again, just to get his hands a little higher as opposed to where they are. And that might help a little bit with that. Not sure how much. And as far as balancing goes, just overall balance, I wouldn't say he doesn't have body control, because I think he has some pretty decent body control given his size. But I do think he could play more within himself and trust his technique, especially when it comes to pass protection. And developing a consistent kick slide would go a long way just to help with his bend and posture issues and pass protection as well. And he's not the most versatile offensive lineman that we probably could have gotten. He's only played right tackle for Elon. That's the only thing he's played. And I think he kind of has this average lateral mobility, but that could potentially restrict him in a zone blocking system like we have here. But the fact that it's average for a guy that shouldn't even have a skill set that should be average in this kind of system is kind of amazing. And I do think he needs significant coaching work in order to actually, be consistent when in space, but has the traits that make him effective as a drive blocker and also in pass protection. So it's hard to tell what to give this as a grade, just because you kind of need to teach him how to play the game of football all over again. And he has so much potential, though, because I would think it pretty hard to be able to sneak him on the practice squad, because I know some people might be like, oh no, this is a practice squad candidate. Put him there, let him develop for a year or two, and then bring him aboard. All good in theory, but in practice, I think it's going to be very hard to keep a guy like this who has all that size, all that power, and this quick of feet, along with that arm length at nearly 36 inches, which is ridiculous. I can't see us hiding him on a practice squad. So I kind of think this could be a B kind of grade, though, just because of how he could develop into this. Because I think we would all agree, among all of the tackles that we do have, after O'Neal and Reef, who are the clear starters at tackle, I think right now, I would think that he probably has the most potential out of all of the backup guys. Rashad Hill doesn't have anything on this guy in terms of potential. Aviant Collins might be a better guard. I know they have Adam Bisnawadi. He's really not that great, and I don't know if he makes it past training camp, and he could be a potential practice squad candidate as well. So I don't know if this is one of those talent things where even if you think he should be a practice squad guy, he has so much talent, you have to keep him on the roster, I think. But I'm going to give this a B just because I think there's a chance for him to develop into a good tackle here. I'm not sure he will. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, oh no, this is the future of the franchise right here. This is our future left tackle of the future. That's not what I'm saying. I just mean he has enough potential to keep him around, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. He was a 6th-round draft pick for a reason. He's a small school guy who doesn't really know how to play the game, but has really nice traits. You need to teach him all these technique things, and hopefully he's good. And I would like to know what you guys think about this one in particular, because I feel like this one's one a lot of people might have taken an interest in. But I'd like to know what you guys think down in the comments below. Until next time, I bid you all adieu.